Today we're going to take a look at the CATS Heater's Ether Start Fluid Injection System. This is going to work for 1.6 liter to 4.9 liter engines. Now this is going to make life a little bit easier by giving you a reliable startup even in cold temperatures. We're going to have a push button activation system. So this is going to mount inside your cab, and that'll be nice for a couple of reasons. One is that we won't have to get out in the cold weather to spray that ether into our engine, and we also don't have to have a second person to spray that fluid as you turn the key. This is going to deploy that ether into your system. You'll just press that button, hold for a few seconds, release, the ether will be deployed, and then you can turn the key as normal. We'll also have an engine block thermostat to ensure that the system only activates when the outside temperature is below 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's going to ensure that our ether won't be wasted when we don't need it. And if the temperature is above 50 degrees Fahrenheit, then the engine will turn over as normal and no ether will be dispensed. One thing to note with this is that you definitely want to make sure that you install it away from the block heater so you don't get a false read on this. Another thing to note is that this is designed to work with an 18-ounce ether fast flash fuel cylinder, but that is not included with this kit. You will need to pick that up separately. Now, another nice thing about the system is that we don't have to worry about any over-injection. The chamber is going to meter out 5 to 6 cc's of liquid ether for each use, and that's going to prevent any engine overload and help to disperse it through the nozzle. Now, our spray nozzle has a built-in filter which is going to vaporize the ether, and that's going to prevent any manifold flashback. The nozzle's filter is also going to vaporize that ether, which is then injected into the intake manifold as vapor instead of a stream. The vapor is what serves as a catalyst for our combustion in the engine, and that's going to help to ensure that your engine starts on that first try. Now, a couple notes for most effective and smooth starts with your engine. For a diesel, you want to install the jet assembly in the air filter, the blower box, or air inlet pipe. If you have a grid heater, you want to make sure that it's downstream from that heater location. Same goes for a gasoline engine. You can install in the filter, air inlet pipe, or just below the carburetor base. You also want to make sure that the nozzle orifice is positioned perpendicular to the manifold length. So perpendicular, that's like a X or a cross at a right angle. Parallel is when they're side by side. The way to know where that orifice is, there's a little punch on the nozzle. It's probably hard to see there, it's pretty small, but that little punch is going to let you know that that's the location of the orifice on our spray nozzle. It's a very small pinprick there on the end of the nozzle. Now the system is going to connect to your battery, and it's only going to require 6.5 volts to operate, so it's not going to drain our battery. We don't have to worry about using a lot of power. It's going to be very energy efficient. But another nice thing about this is that since we're plugging it, or we're powering it with our vehicle, instead of having to plug it in, we don't have to worry about using this with an outlet. It's really going to be great for vehicles that you can't really park close to any outlet, such as tractors or logging equipment or anything else like that. It does connect to 12-volt battery power, and once you have this system installed, it's going to be virtually maintenance-free. Really, the only thing that you're going to have to do is replace that canister. Typically, about every 200 startups is when you'll need to replace that canister out, so it should last for a long time. Now, the kit itself is going to include our actuator valve assembly and the protective cap there. Whenever you don't have any ether installed, you can cap that off. We're also going to have our mounting plate here with the clamps and the hardware to get that installed. We'll have 4 bolts, 4 lock washers, and 4 nuts. We'll also have our engine block thermostat, the push button switch, and our spray nozzle. That's going to connect to our activator valve assembly with our 5 feet of nylon tube. And then we'll also have 12 feet of 16-gauge wire to connect our push button to our actuator and also to ground the system. We'll have 2 larger ring terminals and then 2 smaller ring terminals, as well as a few Spade terminals, the female end, to get all the connections made, and 2 butt connectors as well. We'll also have a small sticker to remind us on the process or the order of operations for starting up our engine. Again, this is going to work for gas or diesel engines with an engine size of 1.6 liter up to 4.9 liter. This product is also made in the USA. As far as a few specs, our bracket is going to measure about 12 inches long by 4 inches wide. The height to the top of the clamp is going to be 3 inches. The spacing between our mounting holes is going to be 3.5 inches, center on center, and there's going to be several different holes available to mount that anywhere you choose. You do want to be sure, though, that you mount this away from any engine heater or block heaters inside your engine. And that's going to do it for our look at the Cat's Heater's Ether Start Fluid Injection System.